Hey there, welcome. This is Lori Doerneman, and this is my debut episode. I am very excited because number one, there's no one in my house right now. It's so quiet. It just feels awesome. And I was like, ooh, I have to quick make this episode. And a couple things. The purpose of this new place, this new platform that I'm going to be speaking on, my son and I have had a lot of years in the Parenting Dare ministry. It was just a place where we worked on educating parents about technology and how to talk to their kids about love and lust, and really keeping them not so much safe from technology and pornography and all the things in that realm, but how to understand it and navigate it and reject it, and then how to live a life that is just full. And so that is the Parenting Dare ministry. Eric has since just really focused on the recovery and helping specifically men in recovery of pornography and helping them just down that road. It was getting too much for my heart as a mom because people would just share their stories with me, and it was hard to hear a lot of the stories. I'll just be honest with you, where Eric is like, he just has a heart for that, and my heart was like, no, I can't. It was like PTSD for me. I didn't want to hear all of the. People trusted us, and so I was like, I got to pull back from that, and so. 2.5 years ago, I started educating middle school students at this little Catholic school nearby, and I have really enjoyed that. But now I feel very called to do work in the realm of health and nutrition, and so I'll share a little bit about that as we go. But a couple things, when you are doing a podcast, let's say it's a year from now, and hopefully I've had an episode a week. That's my goal here. And if I have that, a year from now when someone stumbles upon this, they'll like, well, who is this Lori Doerneman? And they'll go back to the beginning, to this episode, and so welcome. And we'll want to know a little bit about me. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to take that time and just give you some background information just to kind of let you know like what I do and why I do it. So I am one of 11 kids born to Ken and Bonnie Kreschel. Grew up in a very small town in Nebraska, and a very lovely community, very close-knit community. I've always loved growing up in Wilbur. And just it's a little Czech town. And if you've ever listened to Luke Bryan's song, that's where I grew up. It's just like pickup trucks, and there's like a gun rack right there, and wheat fields and cornfields, and chewing tobacco and all the things. And so it was a very just small town, Saturday night kind of town. And when I was 16, the biggest, most pivotal experience began. My best friend, Brenda Florian, she was told that she had cancer, and it kind of began the next year and a half of her life, 16 months of her life, where she battled that cancer before she died at the age of 17. And Brenda, just that whole experience of, number one, she had to deal with a leg amputation, and I don't know that they would do that now. They would amputate her leg, but it was grueling, and it was so horrible for her to, she had to deal with phantom pains and extreme pain all the time, and then learning how to walk with her fake leg and all the things. And so it was just really brutal experience, and it was just made me so sad, but she handled it so well. It was crazy. And then, so we thought, okay, they got the cancer, life is good. And then, she started, having these, checkups, and they found cancer seeds on her lungs, and then lymph nodes, and so she started having all the treatments, and here we were, age 16, and then 17, and all the things that 16 and 17-year-old girls should be having and experiencing, she was not able to do that. She had her hair just falling out in clumps, and all the things that, like, we're just like laughing and we're just giddy about boys and all that kind of stuff. And she was just worried about her life. And so it became very serious very quickly. And just a lot of different, we had fun too. There's so many things we had fun doing. Yeah, I won't go into all that, but she really enjoyed life, and she just helped me dig deeper into life. And so I'm really grateful for that. And the family allowed me close in with Brenda, and my mom as well. She allowed that. And then it was December 1984, and she told me, hey, Bird, that was my nickname back then. Hey, Bird, the docs gave me 4 months to live. And it was just such a pressing, heavy announcement to be made in the middle of history class. But the reality of that started setting in. And so what do you do when you have 4 months to live and you're 17 years old? And so we just talked a lot about heaven and what's on the other side. She's like, what's going to happen to me, when I pass on? And so we just talked a lot about that. And then as she was getting nearer and nearer to her death, she would just say things like, Lori, you've got to live big. Like, don't just settle, and don't just, get by. And she's just like, enter into life. And so we just talked about what that meant, and how to kind of work with excellence and working harder and all those things. And not that I have done that perfectly, but her voice is always in my head. And when she died on May 1st, 1984, it was just really beautiful, and the family allowed me in, and so I'm so grateful to them for that experience. And then God had this wonderful plan for me, although at the time I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't quite sure, but I had earned a scholarship to be an exchange student in a foreign country. And so like a month after Brenda died, I was in Japan, and my host family was very quiet, and they were gone all day. And so I was left in a house alone in Japan. And so, I can look back at that with the eyes of faith and see how, we serve such a good and gracious God, because if I would have been, staying in small town Nebraska, I would have partied and I would have numbed, and I would have probably just gone off the deep edge a little bit. As it was, I was by myself. It was just me and God. That's it. And so I prayed a lot and journaled a lot, and just felt, it was almost like allowing all of the big emotions to be felt. Instead, I couldn't run from them. They were right there. And they settled in and just really became part of me. And so I'm so grateful for that. And then when I got back to the United States, one of my teachers, her name's Lori Doerneman, awesome teacher, I love her. And she said, Lori, you are wise beyond your years because of these two experiences of, having Brenda, and then, because when I came back, I just didn't fit back into my high school. It just didn't seem to fit anymore. And she just said, these experiences are going to mature in you, and when you're about 50, they will, just kind of have full fruition, if you will. And that is she was a prophet, because that is how I have felt. I am now 58 years old, and I was walking into school. I've been a school teacher the last couple of years, and walking into school in the fall here, and I just knew it was time to do more in the realm of faith. And for me, that does this with fitness, specifically for moms. And so as I go down this road and start this channel, I wanted you to know that backstory, because we are walking each other home. You're listening to this, that means you're alive right now. I'm alive right now. And we are interacting and walking each other home, because this is not our home. This is not our home. It's a great place to live. I love planet Earth. I love our experience here, but we have another reality. And so without any apology, And with great joy, that is what I'm going to proclaim and talk about on this channel. And so if that speaks to you, just really want to welcome you, because that is where I want to just always, springboard from that place of deep faith. And then I have to read these notes. So what I see this podcast becoming, number one, I am not going to curate this perfect life. I'm not, it's quiet here. I'm grateful right now it's quiet, but sometimes real life is going to occur, and I'm not going to do a lot of cutting and a lot of editing of these videos, at least not now. Maybe I will one day, but right now it's just I'm just going to go. And the whole focus is about understanding who we are, specifically as daughters and sons. And the big lesson that I learned in 2018, and I'll be talking about this as we go along, is that we do not earn salvation. And so many times I kind of thought that was my goal, that I was going to earn my way into heaven by the things I did. And in 2018, I had this huge reversion. I call it reversion because it wasn't a conversion. I was already converted to Christ, but I had a deeper reversion, an understanding of who I am as a beloved daughter. And that really changed everything. And specifically, oddly, it changed how I approached food, which I did not expect. Eric and I, in the Parenting Dare, he had been working on the addictive aspect of pornography in the brain. And as we would do that, I'd be like, that's my brain and sugar, because I'm addicted to sugar, I would tell him. And he would just be like, Mom, stay in your lane. But through the years, I was always just trying to figure out, how can I live life better? Because food was always getting in my way. And what I mean by that, I knew how to eat well, I just didn't. And it wrecked me. Bad foods wrecked me. And then I would live with this sense of, why can't I just do this thing that I want to do? And so it was a lot of me working really hard at it and succeeding kind of, and then falling back into old patterns. And so just that was up and down my whole entire life. And when I had this reversion experience, all of a sudden, the food thing just dissipated. And it's kind of I think I just let God be God instead of me trying to control everything. And so through this podcast, I want to explore those things. I have 20 years of journals because as I'm thinking about how do I want to spend the next 10 years of my life, I'm I love this realm. I'm kind of obsessed with it, actually, of just how to show up for your family in a way that you feel good, that you sleep all night long, you are well rested, and you are all in for your family. So that's where I want to spend my days. And it does harken back to Brenda because she was all about that, living with excellence. And so I don't want to just drift, and I don't just want to pretend. I want to be all in. So anyway, that is a little bit about my backstory. I currently have 5 grandchildren, 8 kids. 4 of them are married, and a wonderful husband. I love my life. I love my life. Now, it is not perfect. And that's another thing that we're going to talk about, is just loving your kids when they're imperfect, and how to have that unconditional love when you don't feel like it. When you're I want to throw these kids away. And just how to enter in. Those are the kind of things that I really want to address. So that is my little life in a nutshell. And I just really want to welcome you to this podcast and this channel. And we will be talking to you soon.